The Powers Project.
Hi, how you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Awesome. How are you doing? Thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you for being on the show. I'm really excited about doing this episode today
Mhm.
because I came across your YouTube channel, and you guys have such great energy, and it made me feel good. And I'm going to tell you that is something that is very valued right now in this day and age where everything is so negative and people seem to be so stressed that when you can find something that brings a smile to your face, I go, I love this. I love the connection you two have, the chemistry. That's the word I was looking for.
Chemistry.
The chemistry you guys have, and it comes across on the screen as very genuine, and it's just a fun show. I mean, it's just positive, and I go, I could watch this all day, and it makes me feel better just watching you guys. So thank you for doing such a great show.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Really, we cheat. We drink like 10 Monster Energy drinks, and then we're like, let's do this.
Let's go. The funny thing is, we tell people if you hang out with us, we're the same people on YouTube that we are just like sitting around the house.
I believe that. I really do. Like, I think it'd be a lot of fun, to go out and hang out with you guys, and
Let's do it.
I think it would be a blast because you guys I can tell that you're genuine people, and that's hard to find as well today. So, and that's what I think comes across on your YouTube channels. People pick up on that. They know you're not being phony, and because you wouldn't have the number of subscribers and views that you have if you did come across as being phony.
Right.
And you're just as genuine as anybody I've seen. So, again, I love that. So let's get into the hard questions first, okay?
Uh-oh.
So let me
No hard questions.
yeah. So
Okay.
first let me say you two you're a very good looking couple. Now, so are you a couple?
Yeah.
Gosh, it's so tough. Like,
Well,
People would they're like, I mean, it's obvious that you guys are a couple, but this is for your fans out there who do watch your show, who may only have just come across and discovered, and they don't know anything about you.
Right.
So
yeah.
those questions. So, are you a couple?
Yes.
Okay.
We actually have a story about that too.
I want to hear it. Tell me the story, Staci.
Well, go
Well,
ahead.
I was talking about the story of our fans because we are a couple, yes, but people have said to us that they think we're like father and daughter.
What?
Daughter,
It's the
like,
strangest thing
no.
they're
ever.
adding at least 20 years onto my life by
Yes, and
saying
they're taking off like 15 a month. Like, we had to clarify that so many times. I don't know what that is, but so I'm glad you asked that.
Justin, that's cold, brother. I mean, that seriously, I would never say that. I would never think that you were her dad. Now, speaking of which, I saw an episode with your dad. That man is jacked. He needs. I mean, Justin, you're a big guy, but his dad's jacked.
man.
He needs to come out with a workout program and sell that. So,
You know what? That's a good idea.
I know it is because I was looking at him and I was like, I'm a personal trainer, and I'm going to tell you right now, I saw him as like, he ought to go on your show and say, I've got a program for you.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind.
The problem is she failed to mention that part, in the beginning of all this. So I met her parents without her there, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was at work, and I was like, look, I want to go meet them. Just tell me where to be. I'd like to have dinner, sit down with them. Her dad comes to the door. I was going, just see the hand up. It was like this. How's it going? I was like, oh, man.
He always tells everybody that.
I thought I was strong. I need to get in the gym more, man. I'm not lifting heavy enough.
Yeah, you need.
The thing is, I didn't think about it. I don't think twice about it, but
because you've been around him all your life, so But yeah, as a man, you need to warn somebody and say, "Hey, by the way, my dad's jacked," just to let you know.
You see, then that sounds like I'm trying to scare you or something. You know what I mean?
Could have gave me a heads up.
So, all right. So you guys are a couple. Are you married?
No.
No, we're not.
That was the hard question.
Oh, that was the hardest one?
Well, no, because sometimes you ever watch a man, they're like, Why are you asking that question? I don't
that question.
No pressure, right?
Exactly.
No pressure.
So as a couple, and you guys do these videos together as a couple, now I work with my partner, so I know there can be very trying times. Fortunately, I work alone on air, so I don't have to worry about it. It's off air that we have our little squabbles sometimes because I like things done a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
He likes things done a certain way. So do you guys ever find that to be a challenge for you? Like you want to sit down and shoot a video, and both of you might be going, I don't want to shoot a video right now.
Oh no, of course not.
That never happens. I mean, I think sometimes what it is we had to find a balance. Like it kind of took us a little bit to get in the groove of things. Like we were like both trying to do everything and make sure everything was done. And then he's like, I want to make sure this is right like this. And then I'm like, yes, and I want to make sure this is right. You know what I mean? So I think it took some time to like get used to, I guess, finding our roles kind of,
right.
to like just get it all going. I guess make it like a well-oiled machine, like they say. But I mean, every now and then.
Who does the editing part?
So I fire myself.
She fires herself when she watches it back?
Yeah, when I watch it back. Because I already know when he's going to fire me. But like when I'm watching it back, I'm like, yeah, that was it. I'm fired.
So I know that you do mostly reactionary videos, but I know that you do what are those things called, like where you open up a box in front of everybody, like you buy.
Oh, like the review?
Yeah, the reviews.
Yeah, I noticed you do those too. Are there other things that you do besides the review and the reactionary, or is it mostly the reactionary?
It's mostly the reactions for now. We had an idea that we wanted to use that as kind of the base of the sandwich, if you will.
Yeah.
The bottom bun and then the meat.
I'll tell you what I'm discovering with my podcast is that I have different ideas for segments, which I know I'm going to present, and the ones that stick, obviously I'll keep, and the ones that don't, they'll go by the wayside. Oh, by the way, Staci, I agree with you. Holding a couple.
The two hands.
See, awesome! I'm telling you, that is a real thing. Like, see, that's another reason I got fired.
Yeah, but let me tell you, even though I agree with you on the tea, I'm completely with Justin on taking a bath thing. And
I knew you were going to say that. I felt that coming.
Yeah.
With our audience, I feel like it's always like me and like the 5 women that watch. It's like me and my little corner, and I'm like always trying to defend all the things that I know that other people would agree on, but they're just not watching. But the tea is nice though. It's 2 hands.
Yeah, I do like really hot tea with 2 hands, but the bath thing, I'm just completely with Justin, simply because and you were talking about, well, shower off before you get in the bath. But still, when you get out of that bath water, you have soap scum on you and stuff that you just, I just go, you're not clean.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. You clean beforehand, and then, then you soak and you put your bath salts and just relax.
Sure.
Maybe that's what we're doing wrong, Justin, is we don't use bath salts. Maybe we're still using Mr. Bubbles or something, and we're supposed
to. Yeah, exactly. Use a little pink thing.
I always offer bath salts. Every single time I offer him bath salts.
Yeah, it's
bath salt.
It's not a very manly thing to sit there in a bathtub with bath salts. I mean, if you do it, you can't let any of your friends know. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Apparently, neither is reading a manual.
And I think it's ingrained from my brain from years ago, because my dad was really a stickler about wasting water. I promise you, I would be in the shower. My dad said, okay, go get in the shower. We're about to head out. I'd be in the shower for maybe 5 minutes. And my dad come knocking on the door. Justin, you're in there wasting water. Come on.
My dad used to do the same thing.
Really? Okay, so I don't feel
water and electricity. If you left the light on, he goes,
yeah.
What, do you work for the electric company? So, it's like, You always had to be mindful of not wasting water, not wasting electricity, because he didn't like a large bill. So, you had to always make sure there's, like you said, a shower. You're in there 5 minutes. What are you doing in there, boy, for more than
What are
5
you doing in there? I've been in there for 30 minutes. I'm like, I just got in
The
here.
water just got hot.
I literally just turned on the water, got in.
Exactly. Yeah, they start that clock. They start that clock as soon as you close the door. They don't realize you have to get undressed and everything else. So,
Yeah.
Then it makes you wonder. It's like, well, how do you shower so fast? Like,
yeah,
what
like,
have you been doing all these
yeah,
years?
you use soap and do you rinse off? So with your reaction videos, I notice you do a lot of Family Guy and a lot of Bill Burr, who I love both of them. In fact, Bill Burr is one of my favorite comedians, and to watch you guys react to is just it's precious because I when you see someone that you enjoy and then you see other people enjoying that same person, it warms your heart because you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
they get it too. They appreciate the same things you do. It's sort of like there's these two young guys, and I think their names are Alex and Andy, and they have a reaction video. And what they do is they listen to classic rock, and so many of these songs are songs they've heard for the first time. And to see these young kids listen to music that I grew up with and appreciate it, I'm like, yeah, you get it, And
Yeah.
so there's something I think that when we see you enjoy, things that we know we enjoy, it kind of bonds you together and go, oh, those are good people.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So, um, so with the Bill Burr and Family Guy, which one do you prefer to react to the most?
That's a difficult one because
That
they
is.
both kind of have that shock factor. When you're watching those
Yeah.
Bill Burr bits, you never know where he's going or what he's going to say.
That's true.
And I feel like Family Guy is the same thing. They just,
Yeah.
that
Right.
one where the alarm clock blew up the house.
Oh.
I promise I was not expecting that.
No, you know what's funny though? A lot of people don't even realize Bill Burr, like a lot of people tell us like, oh, he's the greatest comedian ever. But to be totally honest, we didn't even know who Bill Burr was until probably like, I don't know, maybe
February?
Yeah, February or March of this year.
Well, I only discovered him maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and he's been around for a long time. But as soon as I heard him, and Staci, don't take any offense, but when he talked about women saying that you should never hit a woman, and he said, "I'm not saying you should hit a woman, but to say there's never a reason to, I can think of 15 reasons right off the top of my head." And so I've got to listen to this guy, and he was extremely funny, and I've loved him ever since. And the same thing with Family Guy. You're right. These guys push the very edge of to the limit of comedy, to the very edge of the cliff, if you will. How do you feel that that's where comedy should go, that it should be allowed to push things to the limit?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think we were just talking about this the other day. Like, it's an escape for a lot of people. So I think it should push the limit. And I think that's one of the things that makes it so fun for us, because we're the same way. Like, I mean, we just like to have fun. We just like to laugh. So when it pushes the limit and we like die laughing, I mean, it shows how much we really feel about the comedy. Because those are genuine laughs. Like they get us every time.
And so when you're listening to it, do you ever feel like, because I know I watch, especially you, Justin, sometimes like they'll go, like there'll be a really harsh joke and you're like,
yeah, you go, wait. I was like, whoa.
I'm like,
did I laugh at that joke?
Right. I know.
Well, I'm going to offend the whole world.
Yeah.
Shouldn't comedy offend? I mean, really, should it not offend us to go so that we can step back and go, yeah, we need to maybe not take ourselves so seriously, where we can understand that there are certain stereotypes that aren't true, but they're made fun of to show the ridiculousness of those stereotypes, or or things of that nature. Shouldn't comedy be able to offend if it wants to?
I definitely think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
But you know what else? I think if we had different jobs, it would be a lot different too. I feel like our personal life gets in the way of some of the stuff that we can talk about and look at, because they're gonna say, "Hey, that guy from News Channel 4, he laughed at this joke about whatever, and he should be canceled. He shouldn't have a job."
That's true. But at the same time, you're right though, because us being able to laugh at it, I think people kind of appreciate like all of the jokes. We've watched so many Family Guy and even Bill Burr. He makes jokes about Black people, and we laugh at those too. Like
Black people do that.
Yeah, like the lotion joke when he talks about.
I put lotion on my face right before we started this.
Yeah, we were walking around the house looking like where's some lotion? We need lotion before we start. So it's fun.
I don't know how it came about, but my family was not very well off, and so we lived in the white projects. If you know that there was such a thing, there was a white project, black project, but a lot of my friends were Black and stuff, and so I learned certain things because there were Black women in my life who were like mothers to me.
Right.
And so when they would say something to their own kid, they would say it to you. I remember this one woman who I loved to death, and she'd be like, "Looky here, son, I will whoop your ass."
That sounds about right.
You go, "Yes, ma'am." My mother was very much the same way, but that's where I learned to put lotion on my skin, and I always use cocoa butter, and people make fun of me because like
it works, man. It works.
Seriously, the shea butter, the oils.
They moisturize your skin. It's like nice and like elastic,
exactly.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's
not elastic.
Yeah. I know what you mean,
loose.
though.
Elastic is loose. I don't know.
It's nice and tight. It's shiny.
Yeah, whatever this is.
Yeah.
That saying that came out with that they said Black don't crack, and I go, because they use lotion, and lotion, and that's why your skin's all like cracked and everything and dry.
We used to get in trouble for that. Like if you try to leave the house and you don't have lotion on, your parents are like, "Where are you going?" Looking like that.
Your hands are ashy.
Or like if they ask you, "Are you ready to go?" and you say yes, they're like, "You're not ready to go. You don't have any lotion on." It's that serious.
I remember hearing that. Where are you going with your ashy ass? Go get some. Growing up around that, it gave me an appreciation for not just who I am, but for who other people are too, and be able to appreciate the things that they brought into my life, and I'm glad I had access to that that was part of my life, because it gave me a better understanding. So with the Bill Burr and the Family Guy, have you ever done South Park or Joe Rogan?
We actually had 2 or 3 South Park videos in there. I think one of them got claimed almost the whole way through.
Yeah.
And so we had to cut it down, and then another one.
You had to trim it a lot.
I had to trim it down a lot, and I think one of them still lives on the channel right now.
So when you guys do that, what makes a video get claimed and one not get claimed? Like how is it that you're able to show Family Guy but not South Park?
I think the way the creators, I guess how they do their copyrights, or whoever has the licensing to show their show, however they do the copyrights online.
Yeah. So it's honestly not a one size fits all. Like each one is different sometimes. You never know.
So do you only find out after you've done the show and then they go, they take it off? Or
mostly we have a system going.
Yeah.
To where we'll like upload certain pieces of the video and see if it gets the copyright claim on it. And then if it doesn't, then we're cool to do it.
Okay. Yeah. So what about Joe Rogan? Have you ever heard Joe Rogan's comedy?
I've seen his podcast before, but I've never. I don't think he's a stand-up comic too.
He's as funny as Bill Burr. If you watch probably his last 2 specials that he had, the guy's hilarious, and I think it's important because he's much like Bill Burr. They pushed that edge of the envelope, very much like Dave Chappelle. But Dave Chappelle is able to get away with it better than anybody. Dave Chappelle is a genius. That's the other thing. It's like, have you ever reacted to Dave Chappelle?
He did one.
Yeah, we did. Oh yeah, I was about to say we did a few. Yeah, the one.
The 3 a.m.
Oh, and the chicken.
And the chicken.
Yeah. We did.
I think those were the old stand-up too.
Yeah, I don't think those were
His newest one, I think he has like a jumpsuit on, right? Like a jail suit.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, one of the reasons I ask is because, again, when you have comedians like Bill Burr and Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle, and they are talking about topics that everyone else is too afraid to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important that these guys, hold that mantle and keep, carrying it in order to keep comedy alive, because otherwise it's just a washed down version of comedy, and that's never funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to,
That's true.
you have to go through these guidelines to be able to say, well, this is what joke I can tell and what this one I can't, but I can tell this one if I say it this way. And it's just like, that's not comedy,
Yeah, exactly. They can offend whoever and say anything.
Yeah.
So because of the jobs that you have you had some backlash from people? Like, have you laughed at something where people thought that was, something you shouldn't have laughed at, and they come at you and go, hey, that was wrong. You shouldn't laugh at that,
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And those comments, yeah, sometimes there's people, they I noticed that you didn't laugh at the part when they said this, but,
Yeah, but you laughed
but
at
you
the
laughed
other
at
part.
the other part. I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, I think comedy is relative, really.
Yeah.
So if I say something about white people that wasn't funny, and then I say something about black people that was funny, and everybody laughs at that, well, they're not being racist.
Right.
Funny.
Yeah, one's funny and one's not.
That's the thing. Sometimes it is funny, and so and what might be funny to me, like you said, it's relative. It might be funny to me, but not to you, and vice versa. So
Yeah.
I don't think anyone should criticize when you laugh or when you don't.
Yeah, we read some of the comments. Remember some of those comments on the other Bill Burr video? People were saying, "Oh, I noticed that he's making a joke about domestic violence," the stuff I was telling you about, and people were upset because of the fact that I was laughing, even though he was making jokes. But I'm like, Bill Burr tells things in a hilarious, like he could. I mean, I was about to say he could joke about death, but he did joke about death. But he makes it funny. Like, he can talk about anything and make it funny. And I just, we laugh at it all, but I don't think it's the situation we're laughing at. It's really just, it's his delivery. Yeah.
Well, and I think intent goes a long way, because, like, I can listen to Dave Chappelle now, it's no surprise to anybody who listens to me. They know that I'm gay, and it's no big deal. And I can listen to Dave Chappelle and laugh my ass off. Same way with Joe Rogan. They will talk about gay people and they're extremely funny. Now, I know gay people who are up in arms about it, but it's like, you need to back off and just take a chill pill, because you're being ridiculous. They're not. I believe it all comes down to intent, and they don't intend to hurt people. They're not being mean spirited. I actually went to a comedy club several years ago, back in the early 2000s, when it was okay to tell mean gay jokes. And I remember the comedian up on stage, and it was a small comedy club, and he said, "Anybody in here gay?" And I knew what he was going to do, because he was going to say, he was going to tell a gay joke, but he had the intention of being mean about it. So I stood up and I said, "Yeah, right here." And he wouldn't look at me. And I go, "Right here." And I go, I won't say what I said next, because you PG show. So, and I want you to get this to your friends. But he would not look at me, because he knew that what he was about to say was wrong, and he didn't want to have to be confronted on it. And so, I didn't get upset about it, but the fact is that I knew that his intent was in the wrong place. When I listen to Dave Chappelle, when I listen to Bill Burr or Joe Rogan, I know that that's not their intent. Their intent is to show the ridiculousness of things and make it light of it. And I think that's the huge difference.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because we looked at a comedian, I forgot, and we never uploaded.
Oh, yeah.
Guy, he had sunglasses and a big suit. You could tell it was early 2000s.
It had to be like 2001.
But he was, he went on and on. He was talking about gay people and everything like that. And I was like, this is kind of offensive and not even, it's not even as funny because he's being so rude.
Right. And honestly, it was a recommendation.
Yeah.
Like, some people were recommending it, and we watched, and we're like, no, there's no way we're uploading that. It was just terrible.
So that brings up another good question then. should comedians and should comedy be from the past be held to the standards of today? Because we've evolved as people, and and we're going to continue to evolve. I'm sure 20 years is some of the stuff we're doing today. People are going to go, oh, they're not going to be able to believe that we were that crass or whatever.
Yeah.
But should the comedy of old and the comedians of the past, should they be held to today's standards? Should we judge them and go, oh, because what happened with Kevin Hart, for instance, his gay joke, and people wanting to cancel him. I'm going, look, he's already apologized. It was many years ago, back when comedy was different. I go, you guys are probably too young to remember this, but there used to be a show that was called Dean Martin's Roast, and he would have different comedians on there, and they would roast some celebrity. And there was a comedian named Foster Brooks, and his whole entire act was coming up on stage as a drunk man. And we evolved to a point where we go, being drunk isn't funny anymore. And so, I wouldn't say that's why his acting. He was old, so he probably passed away before his But, you don't see anyone doing that comedy anymore because we understand, what it means to be an alcoholic, drunk driving, things of that nature. So we don't find that humorous anymore. But should we hold that man to, the standards of today and go, oh, he was offensive? Because I don't think he was. And I don't think he was offensive for that time. Well, how do you guys feel about that?
Yeah. I mean, I think I see your point. I think that's a really good point to mention in terms of like the different standard. And I feel like we don't necessarily judge the comedian for that time period, but I think the problem comes in because people are watching us, other people will. Mm-hmm. And so we have to keep that part in mind, because for us, we were watching and we're like, okay, but we knew that if we put it up, we're like, this is not going to go over well. And it's just like, I mean, I'm sure back like several years ago, probably around 2001, and even the years after, a lot of racial jokes were coming into play as well. And I think at that time it was okay to make certain jokes when people were talking about Middle Eastern people. We just had that conversation. A lot of jokes started to come. And so I think at that time it was okay, but now it's kind of looked at a little differently.
Right.
So I think it's for the audience.
So this will go to my point about intent. So what do you think about Lisa Lampanelli?
She said something recently?
No, she hasn't been. I haven't seen her in a long time. I think she got married. She got rich and got married. And she's not working anymore. She don't need to work anymore. But her humor was very racially. What's the word I'm looking for? It was very racially.
Like motivated.
Yeah, it was motivated, but it was very. I hate when I do this. This is what I was talking about, where we were sitting at a table. I'd sit there and go, "Oh, the word will pop right up," but because I can see it up on screen, the word's going to escape me. It was very fiery, if you will. That's the only word I can come up with right now, because racially charged, motivated, charged. Yes, because a lot of her jokes were about black men, and of course, they were funny because they were ridiculous. But I think because she said, "I love black men," her intent is not to harm or hurt with her jokes, but just to make light of these ridiculous generalizations that we have. So what were your thoughts on her when you first saw her? Did you like her? Did you go,
I think from what I've seen, some of the jokes, I mean, they're funny, kind of. It depends on, like, if your audience, I mean, I guess it just depends. It's because I kind of think it takes a lot to make me laugh sometimes. When it comes to comedians, because of the way that some of the stories are explained, and some people are just like, hey, you know what, he's not that funny.
Right. Well, like you said, it's relative. Like I didn't particularly care for her, only because I thought she was, she had a potty mouth, and not that there's anything wrong with it, but I thought she was that way just to be that way. Like there wasn't a purpose. Like a lot of people, like when you hear Dave Chappelle drop the F word or something, there's a reason. Like it
That's true.
it adds to the joke. It isn't supposed to be the joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Honestly, that's kind of distracting for me, I think. Like when we're watching, if there's too many words, like you said, that just don't really need to be there, we kind of end up drowning out and losing focus because it's just now it's not funny anymore because it's like we can't even focus on your joke.
Because you're cussing so much.
Yeah, because you're like saying.
Cat Williams does that. He cusses a lot.
Yeah, he does.
Like a whole lot.
Did you ever watch Cat Williams?
Yeah. You're right. He does a lot. You know, and the funny thing is like when I do my show, I let my show go however it goes. You know, I'm always aware of who my guests are, so I don't, you know, I make sure I act accordingly. But I noticed in my last episode I had that I dropped the F-bomb a lot, and I mean a lot. And I had to go back and go, why did I do that? Like I don't usually use it that much, but for whatever reason in that particular, you know, context, I didn't feel the need, but I noticed that I did it. And I was like, I've got to be more aware of that because I think sometimes we get wrapped up in who we're talking to and we communicate with people differently. And so, and it wasn't that person's fault because they didn't do anything to, you know, spur that on me. I just did it. So I think we need to be made, you know, we need to be aware of ourselves and go, sometimes we don't need to do those things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it just depends on where you are and who you're around. You know, like around the house with Staci, I'll cuss and everything like that. But a lot of stuff we do is family function. So we like the other night we ate dinner with my father, and you know we're sitting there eating with him and talking. But I wouldn't cuss in that setting. And then just last night we were with her parents and her family.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't.
You wouldn't curse around him.
Right. Yeah, no.
What'd you say?
Yeah, so we're gonna leave now. We're gonna go move to Alaska,
please, so you can't catch me.
Right.
Well, you tell your dad when he does that video, when he does a workout video or something, you let me know. I'll advertise his video on my podcast.
Yeah, we definitely will. He's so busy in the middle of like running a side contracting business at the same time. So he's got so many things going on.
What does he do?
Well, he works in the school system. He's an educator, but he also knows how to basically fix anything in your house. So he also buys houses and fixes them up and stuff like that too. And he does contracting work for other people. So
he's one of those guys who are hustling all the time. Like he's always doing something, which is
you would think he's retired. He cannot sit down. He will not sit down.
It's guys like him that make the world go around, though. Seriously, because he's always being productive, and he's always those kind of people are always giving back to society one way or another. They're creating benefits for our society by being productive like that. We need more people like that, honestly.
Yeah, so do we. When we decide to get some new furniture, every single time we go to his house, he just installed a new sink. Remember, he's I didn't like the way the old one looked, so he went and bought a whole new, I don't know what you call it, a whole sink with the cabinets and the whatever comes with it. It's always something.
Yeah, you can't. I was never that person.
Me either. Nope, I'll break it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or YouTube it.
When I was doing a lot of the DIYs and installs on my car,
on your car,
YouTube didn't have such a large install video platform. It was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. I broke my radio trying to put it in. I got this new nice radio. I was like, I can put this in. It's going to be easy. I just look it up on YouTube, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. And, and shout out to all those people who do those DIY videos, because I could never do one, because all you would hear is, you think I dropped F-bombs on that last episode? That's all you would hear, because I get so frustrated trying to install things.
Yeah.
If you want me to rip it out, I'm your guy. But if you want me to put it in, somebody else. So, I want to kind of get back to the comedy of the past with the old TV shows. Think back, and again, I don't know if you're too young for this, but shows like All in the Family and the Jeffersons, TV shows like that, movies like Blazing Saddles, for instance. these were TV shows and movies that again highlighted the ridiculousness of racism, for instance, and I think that those shows and that those movies were important, and that it showed just how silly that whole nonsense was. And yet, I don't know that we could have movies like that or have TV shows like that nowadays that would ever get made. Now, I know we have Family Guy and South Park, but they're animated. And so it's a little different when we put them in a cartoon figure. Then it's sort of like, oh, we can handle it. But if it were actually, like a sitcom or something like it used to be, I don't know if those shows would get made today.
Yeah, I think the closest thing we have to that is like Blackish.
Yeah, Blackish. But it's not still on the air, is it?
Did they run through the last season?
I think we did watch the.
Yep.
I think we.
That was the end when they took off on the boat.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I guess they are finished.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that's the closest thing to it, and even that I think is compared to the shows that you're referring to. Even that I think can still be a little watered down sometimes.
Yeah, it was mild. I mean, but Blackish did they did hit on some sensitive topics, which I'm glad to see, because they did something that other shows around them wouldn't do, especially sitcoms. And so they really, I was happy to see that. And but even like you said, it was, Staci, it's kind of watered down compared to, George Jefferson using the word honky,
That's true.
Every time I heard George Jefferson say that, I would laugh. Like, I was never offended. I was like, because I understood the context and what things, and why he said what he said. And I think that was important, that he was able to say those. And yet I don't think you could have the show Blackish and someone use a word that we would consider derogatory today, because people would be up in arms about it. So I don't know. I think people have taken are taking things way too serious, including comedy, and that, to me, that's sad. And again, that's why I think your show is so amazing, because you're able to show things, like Bill Burr and Family Guy, and show it's okay to laugh at these things.
Yeah, I think like you said, though, you understood the context. I think that's kind of where we are now. I think people don't care to understand the context before they get offended. And I think that's where the disconnect happens. There's people who get it, and then there's people who don't want to get it. And then that kind of draws the line.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. I think there are people who don't want to get it because there are people out there who want to be offended. There are people who constantly want to play the role of the victim, and that's across the board. Every group has those people who want to be victimized and who always want to be offended. I know in my community that we have quite a few people who always are offended at any little thing.
Yeah.
In fact, I have to tell you. So one of the episodes I watched that you guys reacted to was Family Guy, and it was about the English, and they said the English guy said something, and Peter and them didn't understand. And then Cleveland said, the only thing I know about English dialect is that fag means cigarettes.
Oh yeah. I remember.
Well, tell that cigarette. I laugh my ass off because that's funny, but I know gay people who would be offended by that, and I want to go, why? Why are you offended by that?
Yeah.
Funny joke. There was no ill intent. There was nothing mean-spirited about it. And it's just that as a society, I think we've become too sensitive to everything. And we're always looking to be outraged. And I'll say it again and again and again. That's why I love your show, because it takes you away from that nonsense for a while.
Yeah, I was telling people a while ago, the language has changed too. Like how fag means cigarette. I remember when we were in school, in elementary school, middle school, I'd be like, "Oh man, you're a fag, you're a fag." But we weren't talking about you're gay. We were just saying.
Right.
It didn't have a meaning.
It didn't really have a meaning.
And you're right. And again, I understand when people say, like, and then later on it became, oh, you're gay. And
yeah, you're gay. Yeah.
For me, none of those things bother me. The only reason I ever voice my opinion on that and is because I go, look, I know that you don't mean anything by it, but you have to understand there are kids out there who are gay. And so they know that when you're saying it's gay, that's something that's supposed to be negative. So they're saying, oh, that being gay is negative. And so they internalize that. And so I go, just try to be aware that, that it doesn't, when you say that, it's not whether it affects me or not, it's whether some kid hears you and it affects them. So because it can. And I know that, growing up, there wasn't the things like, oh, you're a fag, you're gay, or anything like that bothered me. What bothered me were my friends and my family who didn't know I was gay, and what they would say about gay people, and not knowing I was gay. And I was like, and I go, they're never going to say that about me ever, because that's why I became like this, tough guy who wrestled and lifted weights and all that stuff, because I swore no one was going to be able to say that about me if they ever found out. But I also said I'm never going to tell anyone, so no one's ever going to find out. Thank goodness that changed. So, so while I know that it's important that we're aware of those things and how they can affect certain, especially youth, I think, we need to be careful about. But I also think that we can go overboard with that nonsense too, and make people, because I always tell parents, look, children will react to the level that you react. So they're, it's you see it all the time. A little kid falls down, scrapes their knee, and the dad goes, "Oh, you're okay," and the kid's like, "Oh, okay, I'm okay." But we come out and go, "Oh, are you okay, honey?" And then all of a sudden the tears well up, and they're like, "Oh." So
true.
They're looking for you to see how you react, to see how they're supposed to react. And so if we take offense to everything, the kid's going to grow up learning to take offense to everything as well.
That is true. I just saw that the other day. I was telling you, when I was in the parking lot, there was a woman and she was upset about something, and she was just harassing this woman about, I think she was about to go in a store and she didn't have a mask on or something like that. And I don't want to start a mask debate, but her kids were right there watching her, and she's like talking to this woman, and her kids are sitting there looking at her like, okay, so this is what I need to do whenever, I see something that's not right. And in my mind, I was just thinking like, why doesn't she just mind her business? But that's just me. But I'm like, but her kids are there. And I think it kind of bothers me a little bit when I see people, like, if they act a certain way and their kids are watching. I think that kind of makes me cringe a little bit, because I'm like, they're going to see that and think that that's okay. Yeah. And now we're creating a whole nother. I think Bill Burr said that too. It's like, now we're creating another one, like in the cycle of people, whether it's good or bad,
Right. And you're right, because the kids do, they do pick up on what we do, even when they're not your kids. If they see adults do things, they'll start to emulate those behaviors. And unfortunately, there's a lot of adults out there who grew old, but they never grew up. So,
right.
Hey, I'm gonna write that one down. That's a good quote.
They just don't set good examples, and I've said that to adults before. I go, how do you, when you behave this way, how do you expect kids to sit there and behave any differently than you? You get upset when they act that way, but it's okay when you do it. And I go, and you're supposed to be setting the example, and somehow that just doesn't compute with them for some reason. I don't. One of the other things I love about your show is the questions that you have at the at the end of your show. And
question of the day.
Question of the day. I love that. I think that's keep that in there, because I love those questions of the day. And I took your Florida Man challenge, which I hilarious. And do you know, on my birthday, Grace is saying, a man jumped in the water and punched a shark to save his dog. That's on my birthday. And it's a true story, because he was on one of the major networks. I want to say it was NBC or something, and it was probably a Sunday show. And he had his little dog there, and and he said this was a really big shark, and and so the guy asked him, he goes, "Well, did you jump in right away?" And he goes, "No, it was a big shark."
had to decide.
You had to think about it, like, is my dog worth it or not?
This man's best friend.
Yeah.
You gotta save.
That sounds so like Florida.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when you said that, because I wasn't born in Florida, but I've lived here the majority of my life, and I'm going, we have the craziest ass people in the world now. So they just move from all over the country and go and congregate in Florida, and we had the silliest things. Like, and my best friend, I said, you got to do this. I go, it's funny, and he said, and so he did it, and it shows that some guy tried to poison his girlfriend with Lysol. Lysol.
Oh.
What? How do you poison your girlfriend with Lysol? Like, did you just
Did you like spray it in her drink? Like, oh my gosh.
So yeah. So I thought that was one of your funniest challenges because it again, it's one of those things because it is very true that we have crazy ass people in Florida. So
yeah. Honestly, I can't even remember what mine was.
I don't remember what mine was.
I know it was something ridiculous though.
But that happened to me when I was younger. My sister put Windex in my drink. She said my cup looked dirty.
But she literally thought like she was
trying to clean
help.
my cup. She was
like trying to poison you. She just tried.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, wait, what did you do to that drink? Well, your cup was dirty, so I washed it. I put some Windex on it and washed it.
What have you done to her drinks?
Wait.
You know, her cups.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know, sibling rivalry.
Or a little mustard in it.
So where do you like? What can we expect from the Justin and Staci show here in the future? Like, do you plan on adding any type of content to it, or are you going to keep with the reactionary? Because I think what you're doing is great. I'm not suggesting you need any change or anything. I'm just asking if there's more that you're going to be bringing to it that you want to do.
I think we're always trying to change and add value. Yeah. So that's why we wanted to use the reactions, to gain a good amount of following, a community, really. Yeah, it's not really a following we want. We want to build a community so we can do things like this. And, we can collaborate with other people. And then we want to start adding things to it. So we'll keep the reaction channel. We want to, stream games. If you go far enough down on the channel, I used to do a lot of game reviews and stream games. I like to get back to that. When new games come out, I like to review those and stream them and play with people.
And we have fun too, taking people on our trips. Like we did a couple of vlogs where we would go like on a weekend getaway and just be us. Basically, we still had to get used to some of the vlogging, like remembering to vlog every moment. But we'll probably do some of that in the future too, whenever we take another little road trip or whatever.
Yeah, and maybe do a review thing, like where you stay at the hotel and stuff like that. I know that people would be interested in that. I'd be interested in, like, if you went to a particular state and you stayed at a hotel or ate at a particular restaurant, I'd want to know because I do listen to people's opinions before I decide to go somewhere and go, and spend my hard-earned money and make sure that it was, that it's worth it. So if someone gives a good review on something, then I'm apt to listen to what they have to say. So.
Absolutely. You'll be the first to know the next place we go.
Yeah.
We'll do a whole thing.
Oh, and by the way, Justin, when you live in Florida and all you see is green all year round, we enjoy foliage. Just so you know that.
Do you?
I don't like seeing dead trees.
They're not dead. They're just hibernating.
Yes, exactly.
It's like a snake that sheds its skin. It's not dead. It's just growing. That's all. The trees are growing and getting rid of the old leaves, and they'll have new ones by springtime. So.
It's not. I think it's nice to look at. I think it's to me, it's a nice picture. If you go for a hike and you see all the colors, then it's great. But to see people travel hundreds and hundreds of miles is wow. Is it okay?
I wouldn't do that, but I will tell you that when I go up north and, I go to Martha's. Well, I haven't been in a long time, but I used to go up there in the fall in Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. That whole area is just beautiful during that time of the year. I wouldn't go up there just for the leaves, but it is beautiful to see because again, down here We don't get any of that. Everything's green year round, and there is too much of a good thing. Too much sunshine and too much green.
We love it.
I like the sunshine.
Every time we come down there, remember we were down there and they had like the fake snow?
Oh,
that was the funniest thing when we were at City Place.
Yeah,
they had the fake snow. We were like, wow, so this is, I would love to have fake snow because I hate real snow.
Yeah, real snow's kind of
sucks.
It was cool when we were kids.
Yeah, but that's because you live in it. You know, I mean, when I go up there, I love snow because I don't have to shovel it. Number one.
Right.
Oh yeah, you get to leave.
Yeah, you leave. Yeah.
I can look out the window and go, "Oh, this is beautiful," and then go, "Okay, my flight's due now." So I don't have to.
Gross.
I don't have to live in it. It's the same thing living in the sunshine year round, and it's and it's 99 degrees out, and you just took a shower and you're already sweating. So yeah, so they all have their plus and minuses, as far as that goes. It seems like wherever you live, you always want to live in the opposite of where you live because you're not having to deal with that on a daily basis. So
yeah, that's true.
We need like a happy medium.
Yeah.
Which we might have just gained.
Yeah, possibly.
So you both have your own social media, is that right? Like, do you have your own Facebook and stuff? So, Staci, let me start with you. What sites are you on? What do you have that people can reach you, and if you want them to reach out to you?
Well, everywhere it's just at TV Staci. So STACI. So it's Facebook. We always joke on our channel. Facebook, Instagram, MySpace, Beepo, all the old stuff. But no, really, just Facebook, Twitter. Instagram. TV Staci. I think that's all.
Okay, and
I can't have more than 3.
Can't keep up with them all.
Yeah, I can't keep up.
And Justin, what about you?
Oh, so yeah, I just use my first and last name. So Justin Dorsey.
Justin Dorsey TV at Instagram, at Facebook, or wherever you.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm starting to use Twitter a little bit more. I'm getting better.
Yeah, we're really trying because Twitter is different.
Twitter is kind of
hard for us.
It's no value really to me. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Twitter. I know people love it, but I don't get Twitter. It's just people complaining, and I get that this need to voice your opinion.
Yeah.
But how many people are really like listening or reading your post or whatever that you spent time to sit there and find out perfectly? And I go, yeah, one person liked it. I go,
that's how I felt when Twitter first came out. Like I remember thinking about it, and I'm like, I said this, and I was like, why does anyone care? Because the way they marketed it, and they had like the celebrities were the ones that were tweeting at first.
Right.
And I was just like, why does anyone care what they have to say every few minutes? Like it never clicked to me. And it's still
right now factor.
I know, but even still, we used to remind each other. Like we'll call each other during the day, like when we're at work. We're like, hey, did you tweet today? Because we can't remember.
Yeah. I don't mind when I do, because of my podcast, I'll put pictures up like of you guys on my Instagram and my Facebook. But on Twitter, I don't have anything I can say things, but it's not something that a million other people haven't already said, basically. And I never thought enough, but I was wrong. I will tell you that several years ago, I had friends who were on that Foursquare, was it? Something.
Oh, I remember Foursquare.
Okay, so they would tell you everywhere they were, like every place they went, every place they ate. They were taking pictures of their meal, and I go, "Who cares? Who would care to follow me where I go throughout my entire day?" Apparently, lots of people. I just personally didn't. I'd like, why does anyone think I care where they're at right this second? It's like.
Yeah.
I agree.
If I was a thief, maybe because I go, oh, he's not home, I could break into his house.
Right, exactly.
On the one hand.
Exactly. So I was like, I don't think it's smart telling people where you're at all the time, just for that reason alone. But apparently, like I said, I've been wrong about many things in my life, and usually more right than wrong. But I remember when things like back in the day before gas was $1, and I go, if gas ever gets to $1, I'm never driving again. Well, I would like, because I just didn't think it was going to get past $1, but I was wrong. So
hey, here we are. At almost $4 most places.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know if it's I don't think it's just because of COVID, but because I know the Middle East, they kind of bucked the system there and decided they were going to drop the price of oil. And so when it went under $2 again, I was happy to see that.
Yeah.
So hopefully it'll stay around that price range for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just got it for like $2. Oh wait, maybe it's $3. I was like $3.30.
Yeah.
Now, when someday your grandchildren or somebody going to look at this video and go, gas was $2? What?
Dollars? What?
They're gonna be like, you used gas back then?
I can't believe they were burning gas in cars.
Whatever they're gonna be using.
They were driving Teslas. Every car is going to be electric.
Yeah.
I'm all about Tesla. Any car that can go 0 to 60 in 1.8 seconds, I'm all about that. Roadster, Justin, we got to get a Roadster, brother. I'm telling you, I used to drive muscle cars. I mean, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do drugs. I just drove fast cars, and that was my vice, back when I was a kid. And there's just something wrong about a car that doesn't make a noise that can just blow your doors off.
Exactly.
Right.
I think I don't like it. I don't like the fact that it has no noise.
Well, maybe they'll do what BMW does, and they'll put that fake engine noise in there that you can put.
Yes,
we were just talking about
that because we were literally, I was teetering. I was looking at the BMW i8, and it doesn't make any noise, but I just love that car so much. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. I don't care if it doesn't make any noise. I'm going to be an old man. I'm not going to be.
We literally just talked about this. We were calculating like what price we could get one for.
But
even though.
Here's the thing. So, these kids with their little Hondas and stuff. Now, I came from the real era of muscle cars. I mean, we're talking about Mustangs, Corvettes, Camaros, Challengers, Chargers. I mean, these cars had, 440s in them, 383s. I mean, they were big block engine cars that had a lot of power. And then you hear these little Hondas and Hyundais. And they have these mufflers on there, like trying to act like they have something, two bumps under the hood. And I go, your car's not fast. And not only that, it's front wheel drive, which means you can't handle that car worth crap once you do hit any speed. And it's just a death box to me. And I go, why do these kids think these cars are fast? And you'll see them try to race each other. And I'm like laughing because I go, I don't know. It's like
they built fast back when I was in right after high school. I had like a Honda Civic modded out. I mean, it was super low, the gold wheels, and the really loud muffler. My mom hated that car. She hated that car.
I actually saw a Honda Civic try to race. I want to say it was a Mustang, and I was just like laughing because this Mustang just blew the doors off this Honda. And I want to go, the guy in the Honda, did he really, really think he had a chance? Did he really think? I don't think he could have put nitrous on that car and had a chance. That's how bad it was.
We like to see where that gauge is. A long time ago, I remember on my Honda Prelude, I raced what's a Lotus or something like that on the highway. And I was just running behind him. I was like riding on this bumper. I'm like, take off. I want to see if I can keep up.
The modifications give you the confidence.
See?
And then you want to take on any car.
Yeah, any car. I want to see how fast it is compared to something that costs 3 times more.
Yeah, but I would just get depressed when it just left me behind. I'd be like, oh, I'm not fast at all.
Yeah, sometimes. Man, that happened to us in one of my other cars.
Oh my God.
We were racing. What is that? It was a S5, Audi S5.
Yeah.
The V8. Man, that thing flies, and it left my 350 dust.
Yeah.
It's like we were going. We were trying as hard as we could.
On takeoff, we were good. We were rolling maybe at like 40, 50. And we're just going, and he just.
I mean,
and he was gone.
Unbelievable.
He was gone. I was like, I think that's it. I'm gonna catch back up.
And I was like, man, like I don't want to say anything, but it sure seems like he is really far away now. Like I think
you're supposed to be on my side.
I was. That's why I didn't say anything. I was just like, Okay, all right. Yep, he's leaving us. It's okay. It's all right. We'll get him next time.
Yeah. In my mind, we won.
Yeah, and we did catch up with him later, and we talked to him.
Yeah,
he was like, "Oh, that was you back there."
I didn't know you.
When he was coming out of the restaurant because he was already done eating.
But he did give you a pound though. He was like, "Hey."
He was like, "Hey, good run.
He's like,
good try."
Yeah, good try.
You know, that's what's so disheartening about the Tesla is that you could be sitting there in a souped up Camaro with 350 and you could have nitrous in it, you could have headers on it, a cam on it. I mean, you could have it decked out and the Tesla just come up and go and leave you right.
He's going to just buzz right by you.
Yeah.
Right by you. And it's like, yeah, and here you have this car just sitting there, sounding so bad. And then it just gets beaten like a stepchild.
Don't even hear it.
You don't even hear it. It has that frequency noise.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a client of mine who has one, and he always wants me to drive it because I'm always wanting to floor it because I just love that whole,
Yeah. Take off.
And I think he's too afraid to do it himself, and so I think he enjoys it when I do it for him because I just love that, And I was like, God, what I would have given. But think about this, Justin. My brother had a car that when you floored it, it was a Ford Comet 302 in it, and it would lift the front wheels off the ground. And I go, how is it that this Tesla can take off? And I know it's faster than my brother's Comet. Yeah. And that those wheels stay planted, because I don't know the science behind it. All I know is that it just takes off and it's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've yet to drive one.
I was going to say, I never drove one.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. If you drive one, I don't think you'll ever want to drive anything else again. Honestly, it's such a great ride. Seriously, it's such a great ride. And the greatest thing about Tesla, not that this is a Tesla sales but the greatest thing about Tesla is that as they get upgrades, they can put it into your car's computer, so your car gets upgraded. So it's never out of style. Like so you don't have to trade in your old Tesla for a new one because you have everything the new Tesla has, as far as the upgrades go. And I go, that's brilliant. And not to mention, like, there are so few moving parts that you don't have to worry about, getting your engine fixed or having oil leaks or things of that nature that, where gaskets wear out and things like that. So I love the car. I can't say enough about it. And
I don't know. For me, it's the way it looks. I mean, if we're talking about spending like $60,000 on a car, well, now we're in the price range where we can talk about that i8 again and say, well, the i8 is nicer
and it looks cooler
and it's beige. No.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So Tesla has a Roadster. Look it up. Look up the Roadster and tell me that isn't a sharp looking car. And it's only it's only $250,000. But when you compare it to other cars that it can run against and beat, like a Bugatti that's $1 million.
Yeah.
I would be embarrassed if I spent that much money on a car, almost $2 million on a car, and a $250,000 car came up and blew my doors off. I would be embarrassed. So I would like,
a little bit, yeah.
I'd take it back. Return to sender.
But the Roadster is a sharp car. I think you'd like it, Justin. Seriously,
I can take a look into that. But
yeah,
that's out of my price range. See,
that's true.
That's why you have to make this channel go bigger, and that's what we want to do. This channel go up, so that way you can get more money from YouTube and afford that car.
Exactly. We've been talking. I just don't understand. I guess the thing for us is we just don't get the hype. Like, we've seen so many, but now that you're talking about the way it drives and all the things, maybe I can see it a little more, but we're just like, everyone has one and they all look the same, and they're not really that, the style doesn't look that great. Like, there's so many things about it that we're just like, it's just blah to us,
There's a couple things you're going to find. The reason that they go with only one or two models is because they're a startup company, and so they have to keep their costs down. So they can't offer a bunch of different styles and stuff because it's just not very conducive to building that business at this point. I think once they get that price down to around the $30,000 range, where almost everyone can afford a Tesla, then you'll start seeing a variety of different models out there that are more attractive. So I agree with you, because I don't think, for the most part, they're that attractive of a car. They're not ugly by any means, but they're nothing special to look at except the Roadster. The Roadster is hot. I'm telling you. That's so.
Can you imagine that conversation when everyone's driving electric cars? Instead of like the price of gas going up, now we're looking at the price. The price of charge is whatever.
But see, here's the thing, and this is why I want Tesla to succeed, because they went against the grain. All these other major car companies have had this technology for years and have kept it under wraps because they just didn't want to do it. And now that Tesla's forced them, all of a sudden all these car companies are coming out there trying to catch up to Tesla's technology because they see the market for it, and now they're kind of forced to enter this market even though they didn't want it to be there. And I want to see Tesla succeed because, Tesla's not just, they're not just a car manufacturer. They also deal with solar panels and stuff like that, so that you can actually charge your car with the solar panels so that you don't end up paying more for electric even. Your house will produce enough electricity that you can sell back to the electric companies and make money off of it. That's where, that's why I really want to see this company succeed, and because I think they deserve it, since they were the ones who took the risk and went against the grain and fought the big companies out there to do it. So I don't own Tesla stock, people. I promise I don't. I can't.
You should.
Should, yeah.
Except that it's too much damn money, and even with it, it's still too much money. So but so.
Yeah, I would say.
So where was I going to go with this? So with your show, I continue to see Justin and Staci. We're going to still continue to see those reaction videos, and maybe some gaming in the future.
Yeah. And it's gonna probably right when we reach, maybe like at the top of next year when we start to get around the 100,000 mark. That's supposed to happen according to Social Blade. That's supposed to happen in June or July, maybe, of next year.
Yeah,
according to Social Blade. If we continue with the trend, I don't really believe Social Blade because it's wrong about a lot of things.
Yeah.
It tries.
I think that's what matters, that it tries.
Yeah.
And
but the gaming will be fun for you. And
what about you, Staci? What would be fun for you? What would you like to do?
Well, I'm also gonna probably be doing some of the games because he said this a long time ago. He was like, I want to get into the gaming, and then you're gonna stream your games too. And because I have, we both have Switches, and so I've been playing. Embarrassingly so, I've been playing Luigi's Mansion 3 for like a really long time.
Ever.
Like longer than probably anyone. People have probably played it 3 times already, and I'm on the final boss level. But we thought it might be cool for me to try to stream, because I'm not really a gamer, but I play like whatever games he has, I play too. So, and then I had like a Game Boy Advance back in the day. So, which he did get me another one. Thank you for the custom one.
I'm not much of a gamer either, but I do love 2 games. I love Resident Evil and I love God of War. I love both of those, and I can sit there and play those. But I'm like you, Staci. I don't know that you do this, but me, I have to have it on the easy mode. Otherwise, I'll never get out of there. I like when I can just swing things and just kill everything. And, it's like if it becomes too difficult, I'm going to die because I just don't have, there's no run in my mentality. It's just like fight.
Right.
I've asked him so many questions. I'm like,
hey,
I'm struggling. He's like, I haven't played the game.
I never played the game. I never played that game before, so I don't even know.
And then I'm sitting here like, okay, well, this is what I tried. I pressed this button and I did this and I tried that.
But the funny part is, because I have years, I've been gaming for maybe my whole life, maybe. Ever since my parents bought me the Sega Genesis, but she hasn't. So I think it would be fun to have people watch her too.
Yeah.
Play something when she's never really gamed. She's most of the games she's played, has been while she's on me.
Yeah, and it's like the I forgot what you call it, the type of game that I'm playing out, because I used to play games like back in the day. Like I like Donkey Kong. Like, he bought me Donkey Kong for Christmas, like for my Game Boy Advance, because I used to play games like that. But those are games with just a main objective. They're like competition games almost. You know what I mean? Like you're going and you're doing. So I was used to that, but just walking around trying to find things, and I was like, why am I walking around? Like, what am I looking for? Where do I go?
Exactly.
Just basic things like that. So yeah, he helped me out a lot.
See, my best friend will get on me all the time because I don't listen to the story. I don't follow the storyline.
You don't?
I don't listen to the name of the characters, and I don't go hunting for stuff unless it's weapons. And so he'll sit there and go, "You miss all the side missions and stuff." And I go, "What side missions?" I go, "I want to get to the main boss. That's my job, is to get to the main boss." And so he'll go, "You don't play the game right." So he get upset with me. And and I think it would be funny to do like where you watch me play, but it's not because of me, but because of him. Because the reason why I started playing Resident Evil was because he was too scared to. And so when I would play, and so there'd be the scary part, he would scream like a little girl. Like, and I go, "What are you screaming about?" He goes, "That was scary." But he gets scared like that. He's one of those guys who will go to Halloween Horror Night and be scared to death, like
yeah.
like. And I go, it's a leaf blower. That's all it is a leaf blower.
Yeah.
So,
it's the timing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The chainsaw doesn't have a blade on it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But you don't think about these things. I might be him too, because I don't think about those things. I'm just like, oh my God, what was that?
That's why it would be fun to watch you, because you probably get spooked and probably get scared and scream. And so that's what to me the fun.
Honestly, I got scared in Luigi's Mansion.
What?
I got scared.
And it's a cartoon.
Because it was kind of like, I was like, ooh, this is a little creepy. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen next. I'm like, can you look at this? But I'm with you, though, because I had, like, you remember the game. I think I had like 30,000 coins or tokens. Like I never bought anything. Like I was running around collecting all the coins and stuff, but never spent any of it until like toward the end of the game. And I'm like, I don't know why I have all these tokens. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? And then he was like, you can get like things to help you live longer. And I'm like, okay, good to know. So literally, like on the last level, I started like buying extra lives, and I'm like, I could have been done with this game. But it's fine.
You guys ever play a game together, like where you can play 2-player?
We were playing Mario Kart last night.
Yeah, we sure were.
See, I played what's that game with Link in it?
Zelda.
What is it?
Zelda.
Yeah, Zelda. So
best game ever.
Okay, so I played that game once with my friend, and I said, I'm not playing anymore, because he's so greedy. Because he goes, like, there's all these coins, and because he knows how to play the game much better than me, he'll go like grab all the coins before I can even get to him, and he's laughing at me because I can't get any. I go, you're not even sharing. So
at least leave some for me,
right?
You know I'm coming.
And so I'll go over and try to slice him up with my sword. So I don't play fair.
Yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Well, guys, I want to tell you, I really enjoyed this. I knew I was going to enjoy this this show today. I knew I was going to enjoy having you guys on as guests, because I love your personalities. You do such a great job, and you really do. You bring joy and happiness to people. I guarantee you, and so I can see your show getting 100,000 subscribers here really quick, because I know I'm not the only one who gravitates towards positivity and wants to see something positive in their life throughout each day. And you guys bring that. So we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Seriously.
We're a quarter of the way there, so we'll keep working.
Yes, we're going to keep working.
You keep up the great work, and I guarantee you'll get there. And I would love to have you back on sometime whenever you want. If you've got something happening, your dad decides to put out a workout video or whatever.
We need to do he and I working out together.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh my gosh, yes, you two, like doing little, those competition things where you try to like outwork each other.
Just give me a little time.
Yeah, that's all you need, Justin. Just a little bit.
You got the protein powder.
I need to drink more. I pull up on protein powder.
We'd be glad to come back, though.
Yeah, so you're welcome on anytime. But if you have anything like that's happening, a special event that's coming up, or something new that you want to let your listeners and your viewers know about, please feel free to reach out to me. But I will definitely reach out to you again in the future, and you'll see my little comments on your YouTube channel. So
we appreciate that.
Well, again, I appreciate you. And if you have any more challenges like that Florida Man Challenge, I will take it, and I will make my comment what happens. So.
It'll be something.
It will, especially if it has anything to do with Florida. So. Thank you again so much for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you guys again in the near future. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
thank you so
much.
All right, guys, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and until next time, take care, stay safe, and wear your mask.